mi gente, Ish here with a great new zero-waste refill delivery service que lo tiene todo. Pantry items, personal care items, cleaning products, even some of your local faves, usually only found at the farmer's market. So what's this delivery service changing how you do groceries while helping save the planet? It's called The Rounds, and they're making deliveries in Miami, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and DC. They're like a modern-day milkman. Bueno, if the milkman doubled as an undercover eco-warrior. Most items, from almonds to pasta to dish soap, come in reusable containers. Once you're done, you just leave your empties in your tote bag outside your door, and the Rounds picks up your empties, washes, and reuses them, helping reduce those single-use plastics that are choking our landfills. And what's better than stocking your home while helping the environment and local businesses with the Rounds? How about getting 15% off your first order? That's right. Visit therounds.co, click join now, and use promo code PERO for 15% off todo in your order. Even if you order every item. Así que what are you waiting for? Head over to therounds.co to save 15% using promo code PERO on your first order. Sustainable, zero waste, delivered to your door, and 15% off. What more could you ask for? Start making the Rounds today.
Hey everyone, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is Season 5 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
Estás bien bronceado.
¿Viste?
Yes, you came back from Punta Brown.
Punta Brown. Well, I guess there's no better way of
Nope, there's no better way to start the show.
Starting
Episode 217.
217 than, you know, me being all tan from Punta Cana. How is everybody?
Listen, what better way to start any show than being, nice and relaxed and tan?
Relaxed? I don't know.
Well,
but tanned? Okay.
Okay, but you're
because I'm also I came back from Punta Cana 2 days before school started.
Oh, that's
true. And
okay.
as a parent,
rescind.
that's a train wreck.
I rescind. Yes,
but let's talk about positive things.
Yes.
How is everybody? I'm back. Did you guys miss me?
They did miss you.
Thank you to Lucy Lopez, Mamacita Rica.
Yes, our Mamacita
for filling
Rica.
in. It's funny because you didn't tell me that Lucy was filling in.
Well, because I had reached out to her actually the day before, the week before you left. I had reached out to her.
But I had asked you, who's filling in? And you were
I
like,
didn't know.
You were like, I'm not telling you.
Well, no, because I didn't know, because I had asked her the Thursday before, and she's like, reach out to me on Monday and I'll know my schedule better.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to reach out to her on Monday. And if she says no, then I'll find someone else.
So here I was in Punta Cana, on Friday. I woke up and I'm like, oh my God, who's on our show?
I surprised you.
You did. I mean, I was really happy that it was Lucy, but you
didn't know.
I didn't know. The moment I woke up, I even woke up really early because I woke up early because I had a stomach ache.
Oh. Do you hear that, Lucy? He listened to us porque tenía dolor de barriga.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, it was 7 in the morning or whatever time.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, it's Friday. We dropped an episode. Who's on it? And then I hear Lucy and I'm like, oh, nice.
Yes,
Pleasantly
yes.
surprised. So thank you again, Lucy, for filling in.
Yes.
It's funny, you had all this fun with her without me.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were in a Caribbean island at an all-inclusive resort. You were so suffering.
I know, right? Que víctima.
Yeah, really. You want me to play the violin for you?
Okay, so I have to tell you about this whole all-inclusive thing.
Yes.
So as I said, I was, with my whole family, we went to Punta Cana. So funny enough, I hadn't gone to Punta Cana.
Ever.
Yeah. And honestly, okay, I mean, I could say it here because it's us.
Right.
I hadn't gone because Punta Cana has a reputation of being un cubaneo.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, if you're from South Florida and you didn't go to Gatlinburg, you were in Punta Cana.
Right. As I say, Gatlinburg is the Aspen for Cubans.
Right.
And the Caribbean escape is Punta Cana.
Right. Como que dice Stephanie that Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge is the Cuban Riviera.
Yeah. Because every time I hear un cubanazo de esto hablando, no chico, porque nos fuimos para Punta Cana y nos comimos ahí la langosta y comimos en el buffet y comimos, and I'm like, okay, did you do anything?
I love that these Cubans all sound like Bad Bunny.
Did you do anything other than eat and drink? Which I know that's the whole shtick of it.
I mean, right.
But it's, oh, the langosta. I'm like, okay, but did you like go to the pool? Did you go to the beach?
Right. What else? What else did you do?
Did you go on a catamaran? Did you?
Right. Between Maticando, what did you do?
So, but we stayed at a very nice resort, and there wasn't really any of that. But
no, but you had a good time.
More power to you, to the people.
You
who
even drank.
I even drank. So that's the whole point that I was saying, that like I had never, even with the amount of travel I have done, I had never really been in an all-inclusive. Right. The closest to an all-inclusive is a cruise.
Right.
And in a cruise,
or when you were, my kept man.
Right, when we went to Cancun. We'll actually, let's say that story in a minute.
We'll table that.
But as I told you, when we went to Cancun for your work,
we were all inclusive, but it was not.
But it wasn't an all-inclusive resort, right? That was like the best 5 days of my life. So anyway, I kept asking, I'm like, is this included? Is this free?
It's great.
I could have a piña colada. I could have a blue Hawaii. I could have a mojito. I'm like, esto está incluido. Sí. Like, they would look at me like, yeah.
It's all inclusive.
Yes.
Sir.
I'm like, I could walk into this restaurant and order baby back ribs for free.
And eat one and leave the rest and no.
Right. Yes. And again, I had been on, I've been on many cruises, but.
Yeah, but it's different.
Porque en un cruise te cobran la Coca-Cola, right?
As we know.
Right. So it's kind of like, I was like, oh shit, like it really is all inclusive.
You really get what you pay for. I mean, if you do it right.
Right. So it was wonderful. I have to tell you, I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to enjoy it. Okay, not that I didn't think I was going to enjoy it, but I enjoyed the whole experience more because I freaking love Dominican people, and I also went to Santo Domingo. I loved Santo Domingo.
Did you have Dominican cake?
I did not have Dominican cake, but there's a bakery here, Niting Bakery, which is a Dominican bakery in Alapata that is amazing. But Dominicans are so
They're cool.
Awesome. Cool. And again, I have to tell you, having been very fortunate of having traveled a lot, I have never come across as a collective just the level of hospitality in the Dominican Republic, because you might think, okay, well, and in the resort, of course, because we were at a nice resort, we were at Amelia Resort, there's a certain level of expectation. Okay, they're very like spa-like, very perfect, okay. But I went outside of the resort.
Yeah, you were amongst the people.
Right, amongst the people. Right. And everybody's so helpful. Like, I can't, like, there was like 2 or 3 times that I asked for directions, and they're like, bang, 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 I'll take you. I'm like, no, like, I don't want you to stop what you're doing. Yeah. Like, there was a man that was eating with his family, and I'm like, no, stay there. Just tell me where to turn. Like,
oh, wow.
Because he was going to take me, because it was like on the other side of the block. I'm like, no, it's okay. Like, just people really went out of the way. So,
that's nice.
The Dominicano, freaking love you. You were great. So, something kind of interesting did happen while I was at the Dominican Republic. So Tristan wanted to go to the Nickelodeon Resort and go to the Nickelodeon water park, que es tremendo embarque. But
but that's what he wanted.
I'm not gonna hate on it. He had been wanting to do that for years. Yeah. Even before we even talked about before this was like in the stratosphere of going on this trip. For years he had been saying, I want to go to the Nickelodeon water park, the SpongeBob water park, and it's in Punta Cana. I'm like,
que raro
that it's
not in Orlando.
Right. There was one in Orlando, but they're not stateside, right? So I was like, okay, well, if we were making it in Punta Cana and you still want to, we'll do it. So we did. It's very expensive and it's not a big deal, but again, I'm not gonna harp on the negative. So we're there at the water park. Well, actually, we were at the resort at the water park. That there's like the big SpongeBob that you take a picture with, and there was this family of 3, mom, dad, and a little girl, and they were kind of taking a picture by the SpongeBob, and I come in with Tristan, so we did that whole like,
I'll take your picture, you take mine.
Do you mind taking a picture of us? And we'll take a picture of you, and blah 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 blah, and we did that. So when the guy hears me talk, he goes, hey, are you from that? And Tristan, I was like, here it comes. He's like, are you from that podcast? And Tristan's like, pero let me tell you. And he's like, yeah, we listen to your podcast.
I love it. We need to put that kid on the payroll.
We listened to your podcast. And then right when he said that, I looked at his hat and it was a UM hat.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, well, yeah, it makes sense.
From Miami, right,
you know?
Right.
And he's like, yeah, man, we love your podcast. And I was like, here I am.
In the middle of
another country.
Not even the resort you're staying at.
Right. And we came across a listener.
Yes.
So, you know, thank you.
Yes.
I didn't get his name.
But you're a listener, so you're hearing this and you know who you are.
You're listening, listener. It was great bumping into you guys at Punta Cana.
And I'm sure he took a lovely picture.
He did, actually, which I'm going to post. I should post it on our page.
On our page. If you took this picture, please tell us who you are.
So anyway, I thought that was like really random.
It is really random.
Really random. You know, that actually, I think, tops the cop. You know, when I was involved in...
That is true. Because the cop was still here.
Accident a few years ago. The cop's like, Darien Jesus, are you... DJ from Pero Let Me Tell You? I'm like, yes, I am. And it's funny because when he said that, I was so like, yes, I am.
You were on.
And it's funny because I was sort of like...
Well, you were collateral damage.
I was in a collateral damage in an accident, so it's not like I was getting cited or anything. I didn't need to be like on and charming.
Right.
I was like, yes, I am. So any of you out there who haven't done it all-inclusive, do an all-inclusive, eat, drink, be happy, you do whatever, you know... Métete en la piscina all day, bronceate.
I'm telling you, next year we should do that for our friend trip.
Yes. My parents had a blast. They didn't do a damn thing. They didn't eat. They went to bed early. I told my parents, ¿por qué no se meten en la piscina? Ay, no, eso lleno de cloro. Okay, vayan a la playa. Ay, no, pero eso, la arena. Okay, métete en each, because in this hotel we stayed in, we stayed at the Melia Paradisios Gran Cana. Amazing venue, property. Each room is a suite. And it has a huge, like, I wouldn't even say it's a balcony. I say it's like
almost another room,
a living room, an outside living room with like a couch and tables and chairs, and each of them has not even a jacuzzi. It's like a tub outside, right? And I would tell my parents, why don't you get in the tub, relax? Ay, no, llenar esa bañadera afuera. And I'm like... But if you listen to them, we had a great time.
Okay, well,
Qué tiempo más rico pasamos en Punta Cana.
Well, you know,
Qué bueno.
Everybody has their version of a good time.
And I'm like, as long as your recollection is good,
right.
that's all that matters.
Right.
So, you know.
Right, absolutely.
So, yeah. Ahora bajar the weight that I gained.
Ahora hit the gym.
You know what else? So, I noticed this. And I would be interested in hearing from certain our listeners that are like in the hospitality business or like the catering business and all that. Have you noticed that? Because I noticed this even when we went on the cruise, that buffets don't want to be called buffets anymore.
They don't?
In the cruise, you know, the cruise we went on, listeners, last month. We went on Royal Caribbean on the, what was it? Freedom of the Seas.
Freedom, yeah.
Right. Royal Caribbean, it's not called the buffet. It's called the Windjammer Marketplace.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, it's not called the buffet. And the resort we were staying at, it was the no sé qué food hall. It was a buffet.
But it's right.
But it was a food, they called it the food hall. The food hall. And it's funny because when we were looking at other resorts that we were like looking at, at like, you know, the restaurants and stuff like that. Yeah, they're not called buffets.
It's food halls now.
Yeah. People, or whatever other name.
Anything
or
but
the
buffet.
Marketplace, right. But they don't want to call it buffet.
Están como Madonna in the residency.
Right. No, they want to, you know, porque cuando tú crees un buffet, tú crees un buffet chino, chicken strips.
I mean, I just think of happiness.
That is true.
I mean, you know me. I hear buffet and I don't care. It just point me in the
direction.
direction.
I have to say that the Golden Corral has upped their game.
I haven't been in the longest time.
So they opened up a Golden Corral in Hialeah.
Yes.
So I've gone, because really Golden Corral was like an Orlando thing.
There was one down south. There still is by Homestead.
Right. Oh, yes. But it's an Orlando thing. Like, we're in Orlando. Let's go to the Golden Corral.
Right. Ya que cerraron la
my whole problem with the Golden Corral was always that, like, mysterious thing floating in the chocolate fountain. And how, like, when I would go get, like, the chicken nuggets, there was that lone chicken nugget that had been there forever.
Yeah,
so,
and it's like doodle. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm not a picky eater, but I was... But I have to say...
I don't think that makes you a picky eater not wanting to eat
Golden
something
Corral in
floating
Hialeah,
around.
which I imagine is consistent with all the other Golden Corrals,
Right.
like, they have a proper carving station.
Oh.
Yes, I want my prime beef with, you know, horseradish.
Okay.
So...
So before we get into any topics of conversations, I just want to bring up something. So I don't know if you guys saw, or if you even saw, that this week, have you guys heard of the Imagen Awards?
No.
Okay, so the Imagen Awards have been around for a while. They're basically considered like the Latino Golden Globes, and funny enough, they were actually founded by Norman Lear.
By Norman Lear, who turns 100 this year.
Yeah, already did. Because he was aware of the near absence of positive portrayals of Latinos in the entertainment industry. So, you know, he put this together, and it's since become a thing. Well, the nominations were announced this week. And I have to say, I'm kind of proud of our Little Dog and Pony show, because the amount of nominees that we have had on our show are pretty damn cool.
Oh, okay.
Mira, we had Carlos Santos from Gente Fight and Spanish Echy Presents. Javi Guillen from What We Do in the Shadows.
Of course it's Carlos.
Exactly. Natalie Morales got nominated for Love Language, but also not just her, but also the movie. Gracie Mercedes from Grand Crew got nominated. Selenice Leyva got nominated. Like, I was looking at the list and I was like, pero sí, like, all these people have
There's
been
a
on our
roster
show.
of
There's a
our
roster
guests.
of our guests. So I was like, you know, it makes me feel proud to know that we are like giving the spotlight to people who are being recognized by other mediums. Now we just need them to be recognized by, like, you know, the Emmys and the Golden Globes and all that. But it's like, shit, you know, that's pretty cool. I just want to give a big congrats to all of our guests.
Congratulations
you know?
to our guests. They're part of the Pero Let Me Tell You family.
They are. They're all Pero
and
Primos.
catalog.
Yes, they're Pero Primos.
Not to be a Debbie Downer, but I kind of did want to bring up really quick. I just wanted to give a moment to, you know, we're not necessarily a Miami podcast, but we are a Miami podcast.
We're based here, I mean.
So this week, the Miami-Dade Police Department did lose a detective. You know,
what is it that happened exactly?
He was shot in the line of duty.
He was shot in the line of duty. Okay.
So, you know, we want to give our condolences to Detective Cesar Echaverry, who died this week. You know, I think that whatever somebody's opinion may be about the police and whatever issues are with the police, I think we always need to keep the perspective of what's it saying when we're running away from something.
They're running towards it. Unless it's Uvalde. And you know, again, I know a lot of people have issues and there's a lot of things going around in terms of police, but you know, these men and women still put their lives on the line every day, and you know, that is a job that you really don't know if you're going to come back at the end of the day, and it's important to remember those people that have given their life in the line of service. So, you know, our condolences to him and his family. You know, a local loss. So, you know, again, I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer this early in the show, but I thought it was important that we. Yeah. Well, there's never a good time to bring
that
something
right.
up
I know.
like that.
I thought it was important that we bring that up.
No,
so.
absolutely.
So. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. We know things can feel overwhelming, from jobs to family to relationships, even finances. And despite the stigma from Hispanic families about airing our dirty laundry, we can all use someone to talk to during those moments of stress. Well, we're here to remind you that there's no shame in admitting that you need to speak with someone to work towards improving mental well-being. That's where BetterHelp comes in to, well, help. A customized online therapy provider, they offer therapy options on your time, whether it's via phone, video, text, or even live chat sessions with a therapist. BetterHelp's customized approach matches you with a therapist in under 48 hours, based on what you're experiencing, to help you better understand yourself. And as a special offer for Pero Let Me Tell You listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/pero. It's already more affordable than in-person therapy, and now you can save on your first month. Everyone deserves to be happy, and BetterHelp has helped millions take their first step on that path. That's betterhelp.com/pero. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast episode. I'm
like taking a moment just because it's like it feels weird to just transition into another topic automatically, right? Like,
so we are transitioning to another topic right now. So, do you want to?
No. I mean, I have, but you have as well.
So I actually saw a documentary this week that I kind of wanted to briefly mention.
Okay.
In conversation, and I guess it's more relevant to people of a certain age, being us. I think older millennials and generation, what's the older before millennials? Y?
X.
Generation X.
It's X, then millennials, then Z.
What happened to Y?
I don't know.
Okay, so older millennials. So
you know how it is. Sometimes Y.
People in their mid-30s and older.
Okay,
all right?
Got it.
So Woodstock 99.
Something that many people forget about.
What do you remember about Woodstock 99?
I remember it was broadcast on MTV because they still did music then. And I remember that it was the 25th anniversary of
30th.
Woodstock, 30th anniversary. And essentially it became a shit show, right? Because there was a lot of rain, so it was all muddy, which I believe people were saying like, oh, just like the original Woodstock or whatever. But I feel like it devolved into chaos because by the end, weren't they burning porta potties?
That would be an understatement. Everything you just said.
Okay.
So for those of you who are younger,
time
or maybe
has
don't
dampened
remember,
my memory.
So in 1999, the infamous and now legendary, iconic Woodstock concert of 1969.
Right.
Woodstock 1969 was very counterculture. It was about love and peace, and
the hippie movement.
Exactly. Musicians got together and put on this concert. We have the legendary performances from Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin, and Joan Baez was very big in it, and the list goes on. So in 1999, they wanted to celebrate the 30th anniversary of that, which a lot of people also forgot there was a Woodstock in 1994.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But nothing happened to that one.
That's why nobody remembers.
So nobody remembers it. But the Woodstock 99 was on the 30th anniversary, and they wanted, again, to be peace and love and all this stuff. But the problem was, there was a lot of problems. The problem was that Woodstock 94 didn't make any money. So now
that's why nobody remembers
it. The point of this Woodstock was to make a profit.
So counter to Woodstock
complete
69.
Counter to Woodstock 69. And everything was really expensive. Like water was $5 a bottle.
That's right.
Right. In 1999.
Right. So, now $5 for
and then,
water. We're like,
so I saw the documentary and I was
Where is it playing?
There's two documentaries.
Okay.
There's one on Netflix, which is the one I watched, called Trainwreck, and then there's one on HBO. So again, this is big enough that it has two documentaries.
So it's like Fyre Fest.
It's like Fyre Fest.
Okay.
Remember when Fyre Fest happened? I was like, which documentary do I watch first?
Watch them all.
Well, I did.
Yeah, so did I.
But anyway, so water was $5, and everything was like crazy expensive. And the thing was that they did it in an old Air Force base, a decommissioned Air Force base. So a lot or most of this was on pavement.
Oh.
Yes. In the summer.
Hell no.
And I was like, who thought that was a good idea? Like, right? But anyway.
But that's the least of it.
The reason I bring this up is because, and this is not necessarily to get political, but it is a commentary just on society in general, right? So I took particular interest in this documentary because, again, this happened in 1999, which was like, for me in our age group, like the peak of the MTV TRL era.
True.
So I was like I remember, as you said, watching it live on TV that weekend. I remember when Carson Daly was getting attacked. I remember when I
don't know why I feel like Suchin Pak was involved.
No, Amaya Lewis was there, and Kurt Loder, obviously, and not Tabitha Soren, the other one. They were all there, and there was a moment live on TV that they were like, okay, we gotta go. We need to go, because like things were getting out of control. Yeah. So as you said, there was, on the last day, there were fires. They set the whole place on fire. They set like 8, 9, 10 semi trucks on fire, and these trucks had gas tanks and propane tanks, and they exploded. They knocked down the antenna.
Okay, the tower that was broadcasting.
They knocked down the tower, and there were 250,000 people here. Wow! Right, and all of this came to a head. There's
that many people.
Yeah, all this came to a head. So the festival was
what, 4 days?
The festival was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
By Friday night, they were like, okay, this is getting out. On the first night,
the mood changed.
They were like, this is getting out of control, right? So I think Korn played on Friday night, and things got out of control during Korn on Friday night. Then Bush played. Yeah. And for those of you who are interested in this, you're going to get a full-blown... Then Bush played.
We're starting a Wikipedia page.
And all these people are in the documentary. Well, and Gavin Rosdale was like, look, when I went on stage, we were like a little scared, so we toned it down a little bit.
He only played like ballads.
Right. But
change the set
even
list.
Bush was like... Bush is a little bit tamer than like Korn.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah.
So then, that was on Friday. Like, the promoters and people are like...
Something's happening.
This is like crazy. On Saturday, it gets worse. On Saturday, Sheryl Crow goes on during the day, and she gets
not the Grammy's favorite artist.
She gets really upset because they wanted her to take off her top, and she's like, "Excuse me," and like they were being like ruthless to her. So then it got worse on Saturday, and they're like, "This is a ticking time bomb." Like, yeah, people are like, "We should call this off." Imagínate that then by Sunday in the morning, they were like, okay, Jewel's gonna come on.
I mean, if Jewel can't pacify you.
And Jewel's gonna sing her folky,
she's gonna yodel a little bit. Right.
And Jewel was like, get me out of here. See, she's in the documentary too. And she was like, I felt really scared because I felt that crowd, when you're talking about 250,000
what are you going to do? What can you do?
They could turn on you. And even though I'm on a stage...
You're a sitting target.
As we know from Selena's movie, a stage can be broken.
That's true. Even Selena couldn't have saved this festival.
So, and everybody who's watched Selena knows exactly what we're talking about. So Jewel was like, get me out of here. Wow. So then the tension keeps building and building and building, and Limp Bizkit comes on to sing break stuff.
Oh, no, yeah, I'll be out there. Read the room, Fred. Read the room.
It got from bad to catastrophic, and then Red Hot Chili Pepper came on, and they sang Fire.
Oh no, Anthony!
It was really bad. The reason I bring this up is because I wasn't even thinking in those lines when I was watching the documentary or my recollection of it.
You were just watching it as like a memory thing.
When I was watching it, I'm like, everybody here's white. There is not one person of color there.
Really?
Whatever color of the spectrum.
Right. At least not on camera.
Right. There was a lot of footage from this.
Right.
There was everybody was white. Everybody. The reason I bring this up is because you know what I thought about?
I feel like, Latins and blacks aren't going to go see Jewel.
But you know what I thought about? I thought about like, okay, people were so opinionated in 2020 during the George Floyd, protests that some did turn into riots and there was violence. People were so opinionated about, brown and black people, involved in this, getting out of hand, and they looted this and they looted that.
What they did was wrong,
and the progressive people and all this stuff. People were so opinionated, but I'm like,
these people blew up tankers.
Not to justify that,
right?
Because looting is not, we don't justify.
One doesn't take away from the other,
but there was a cause to that, right?
Right.
That was because of something, because of an injustice. Right. But here we have you know, Woodstock, which is like 99.9% white. Well, no, they say it in the documentary. They're like, these were all white frat boys who committed, like, they were savages.
Well, I think
like,
isn't there was like untold counts of rapes.
Rape. No, that's one of the things that they, in the documentary, they kind of end with how the promoters were like, oh, you know, it kills us to hear that all these women were raped. And they talk about, like, one of the guys who was like a reporter, he was saying how, like, there was a moment because they had like a hangar that was like the rave hangar, and Fatboy Slim was playing in it on Sunday night when everything broke loose. And he's like, somebody broke into like a van and they plummeted through the crowd. Not in protest of anything, because it's like, bro, you know, let's, you know, cause havoc and chaos. And one of the reporters there said that he looked into the van and he saw like a girl getting raped, right? And he says, I could never unsee that because of the amount of rapes and things that were happening, and just the reason I bring that.
Do they ever say in the documentary what they think set everything off?
Because they were saying, yeah, they do. They were saying that, like, it was hot.
Because we're talking about something, to your point, things were expensive. So it's like, I'm going to pay all this money to go to something.
Right. It was hot. It was expensive to get in. And they didn't think of, like, the user experience. Like, the facilities were terrible. Everything was expensive. They ran out of running water. They ran out of portable drinking water. It was, 100-some degrees. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. The porta potties were overflowing.
I just don't understand how that turns into rage. Like that.
But that's why I brought this up. But I'm like, you have like the situation of like all these people who,
and I'm sure there were people who saw shit going on. They're like, you know what, I'm leaving.
Right, because when you're in that huge of a crowd, it's like, I mean,
you're taking your life into your own hands.
Yeah, and yeah, I was like, I bring that up not to stir controversy and whatever, but I bring that up to show that, like, people do fucked up shit no matter who you are or what.
And were there any charges brought up against anybody? No.
They didn't talk about that.
Because
they didn't talk about that. But what I think was really funny was that one of the girls they interview in the documentary, and all these people now are like our age, they're late 30s, early 40s. She was 14
when she was there.
Yeah, and her mom totally let her go. She
by
was
herself.
Like, yes, and I'm like, espera.
Okay, she's white.
Tiene que ser una americana.
Pero americana like the norte.
Have I ever told you? I don't think I've ever told on air the story of when I sneaked out to watch Pearl Jam.
I don't know this story.
You don't know this story?
I finally found a story of yours I don't know.
You don't know this story?
I do not know this story.
So picture it. 1993.
Miami, 1993.
Bayfront Park, amphitheater.
I know the concert you're talking about, yeah.
So, no, it wasn't 1993 because I was already with Hannah. So it was like either 94 or 95.
Okay.
Pearl Jam was on tour.
Yeah.
And I was going to go.
For some reason, they always play the Bayfront Amphitheater.
Yes. I was going to go see Pearl Jam.
Right.
Of course, my parents were not going to let me go. Right. Because my parents, listeners.
You were what, 14, 15?
I was like 15, 16. I was like 15, 16.
Okay.
My parents, listeners, when I was a teenager, like especially the more middle school, early high school years, my parents' biggest fear was that I was going to be a rocker. Un rockero. ¿Te acuerdas? That I tell you that one day I was listening really loud to Free Your Mind by En Vogue. And you know that song has like a really big guitar riff. Yeah. And my mom comes in and she's like, lo sabía. Lo último que faltaba. Te has vuelto rockero. And I'm like, it's En Vogue.
They're the Funky Divas.
Like, what? So my parents are always horrified that I was going to become a rocker.
Right.
Because, even though I did like Mariah Carey, I was really into Nirvana and Pearl Jam.
Right. Like and everyone else at that time.
It was very popular at that time. That's what like people of our age were in.
Yeah.
But I was really into it.
Right.
I really did like it.
But I'm saying it's not like you were into anything that was underground.
Right. Exactly. But anyway, so my parents were not going to let me go to this. So I was like, well, I'm going to go to this. So me and my girlfriend at the time devised the plan. We're like, okay, this is in Bayfront Park. Bayfront Park is served by the Metro Mover.
That's right.
If we tell her mom to drop us off at Dadeland, Dadeland Mall, because her mom was all about like dropping us off from the mall and being at the mall, you know,
right, for
20 hours.
Yeah.
And then my parents wouldn't worry porque yo
estaba
con la mamá de la noviecita, you know?
Right, right.
They're not doing anything bad.
And coincidentally, like the only place que vale la pena that the Metro Mover goes is Bayfront Park.
Yes. So I devised a plan, which is pretty good for 15. I was like, okay, we're going to go to the mall. We're going to tell your mom we're going to the mall. We're going to have dinner at the mall. We're going to be there all day. We're going to get on the Metro Move. We're going to get on the Metro Rail, which takes us to the Metro Mover station and Government Center, which then takes us to Bayfront Park. Boom, boom, boom.
Go to the concert, get back.
Boom, boom, boom. Right. And I had even bought the tickets at Trax Music in Town and Country.
Wow.
And I had told her mom, I was like, take us because I'm going to buy a CD, you know?
And again,
they had a Ticketmaster in there. Right. So I was set. So we go to the concert.
Okay.
And then Pearl Jam.
I did not know this.
We go to the concert, and I was like, we're in. I was so happy. And it's so funny because now I'm thinking, I don't have any pictures of that. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're no camera phones.
Right.
We get to the concert, and then the problem was that Pearl Jam did not want to go on stage because Bayfront Amphitheater had like corporate signs.
Okay.
Like Bell South at the time or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I think that was their
And they had asked that they wanted it covered and they didn't cover it. It was one of those
bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. And they canceled the show.
They canceled the show?
Yeah, they were like, we're not going on if that's removed. So they canceled the show and a riot broke out.
Oh, shit.
A riot broke out that the SWAT team came. And I was like, Tú
ves lo que pasa when you sneak out of the house.
I think it's time I call my father. And I was like, Papa.
You had to go find a payphone.
Exactly.
Yeah. But number one, you had to go find a payphone.
But we were by Bayside. Lots of payphones.
That's true.
We were downtown at the time. Lots of payphones. Papa, concierto en Bayfront. Pero ¿cómo que tú estás en el concierto? And I'm like, sí, y está el SWAT team aquí. And then it had already made the news. He's like, tú estás en el molote de gente.
God.
You don't know this story?
I don't know this story.
Tú estás en el molote de gente, en esta locura. And I'm like, yes, just come
get me. You can ream me out on the way home, but just come get me.
So
oh, wow.
But you know what? To my defense, Pearl Jam in my Bayfront Park was not Woodstock at 14.
That is true.
And I sneaked out. My parents didn't let me go.
Right. That's a very big distinction because it's one thing to be like, for her to come on the documentary and be like, my mother thought that I was staying at a friend's house and we went there. No, her mother was like, have fun, sweetie.
Yeah. I'm like, are you crazy?
Por eso que pasan las cosas.
Así pasan las
cosas. And I know we sound like all of our grandparents right now. I don't care. Así pasan las cosas.
You don't know, no Hispanic would have let their kid go to así. Una pila de marihuanero ahí.
No, hippie marihuanero.
¿Estás loco? Una niña de 14 años de su casa decente.
¿Qué hace ahí?
Una niña de
No. Y un niño decente tampoco. Eso de... ¿Quién te manda?
But yeah, watch Trainwreck on Netflix.
The worst part would have been like some Latin kid would have shown up there, got beat up in the melee, and the parents would have been like, "Tú ves, me alegro.
Yeah, me alegro.
Eso es lo que te pasa por salirte de la casa sin decirme. Para que aprenda."
So yeah, it was like a bunch of angry white frat guys, tearing shit up.
I don't get it. I just don't get that anger of for no reason, right? Because they're not even angry. I mean, they're
because we didn't grow up as entitled yuppie white
that
guys
might be why
in Connecticut.
That might be why. Como que dicen, I wish I had the confidence of a mediocre white man.
That's a saying.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard that, but that's great.
I wish I had all the confidence of a middle-aged mediocre white man.
Well, there we go.
No lies detected. Well, changing topics because I don't know how to get out of Woodstock.
Neither did the 250,000
people. That's true.
You know what they were doing, and they knew it. There was a moment where that's why I tell you that people lose their minds.
Right.
Like there was a moment where like the water, they had like water filling stations for people to like fill water bottles or whatever. The pipes had busted. And the porta potties were leaking into like the same kind of depression, like
so la mierda estaba spreading.
Right.
Yeah.
And people were like diving in the mud in that, and they knew there was shit and pee in it.
I know.
And I'm like, but what is wrong with you, Sean from Connecticut?
I'm
like,
sorry, Sean.
It's like,
no.
Is this what you did to get Rush in your fraternity?
No.
Like
you and Jackson have gone too far.
Yes. No.
No.
Nosotros somos demasiado. Oh, and then one last thing. In the train wreck one, the one of Netflix, there is a guy who they interview. I'm going to show you a picture of him. There is a guy that they interview that is Beavis.
Beavis was there?
That is Beavis.
That's Beavis.
That is the real life Beavis. So, listeners, if you watch this documentary, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. One of the people they interview
or Joe
the
Tiger.
Documentary. No. That is Beavis. That they interview. You know that he
Joe
was
Exotic,
at it.
not Joe Tiger.
Is Beavis. That is who Beavis is based on.
That is Beavis. Mike Judge, you owe this man royalties. A lot of them.
See, I was even like, you know how Beavis on the show on Beavis and Butthead, his face is always on the side.
He's always at like a 360,
he's never looking at
3/4. Yeah,
they did it with this guy. Like he never looked straight at the camera.
They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing.
They
knew what they were doing. All right. No, so I was going to bring up, have you heard of this new job phenomenon called quiet quitting?
Oh, yeah, that people that are Generation Z,
essentially,
they're doing only the bare minimum, right?
Minimum.
Yeah, go into it.
So, for those of you who haven't heard of it, Darian basically was saying it. It's so I'm trying to look for like the definition. So
I don't really think it's in Oxford.
Well, no, because I have a thing here in front of me. So basically, they advocate coasting from 9 to 5, doing just enough to get by. Many want to untether their careers from their identities, or like they set firm boundaries against overtime, or they basically will be like, I can do the bare minimum, but I'm also going to work like, on my script while I'm on the clock and things like that. And I just think it's funny that this now has a name, because this is not really new. I mean, think about it. We've always known people who are like, you know what? Tengo tremendo beneficio. I have really good pay. I don't work the weekends. I'm not gonna rock the boat. I'm just gonna coast.
I do think that is something new. No. Hold on. I don't think it's something new. I just think that now, especially since Generation Z is like, just like a few years back, it was all about millennials.
Right now, it's all about
Generation Z. Yeah. They want to make a news story about everything, and they want to talk about everything and label everything. People have been doing that for years. For years. This is not something
most government employees.
And you know what? And it's like everything. When you're in your early 20s, especially, and you're working someplace, you don't care. You don't care. Unless it's like a job you're very passionate about, right?
Right.
You don't care. I mean, I remember when I was in college, I had a very good job at a very good company.
Yeah. And
I did my job, but I wasn't looking for a promotion, which I did end up getting a promotion, but it wasn't like even...
You were not burning the midnight oil.
Because I wasn't, because I'm like, this is not where I'm going to be forever.
Right.
This is... And it was a great company.
Well, but you were studying to do something else.
Right. But this is not where I'm going to be... This is not my destiny. I don't care to climb the corporate ladder.
Right.
I did my job. I did it very well. But I wasn't like, I have to be the superstar, because...
Right. But do you think... Okay, so there's obviously an element of that. But do you think that there's also maybe an element of... And again, I feel like we live in a world now where everything is more broadcast for the good and the bad. Do you think that there's a lot more of people kind of saying, you know what? I'm going to... even if it's something you love, right? A job that you've wanted... I'm going to matarme, and they're either not going to give me the promotion, or it's going to take forever, or when they have to slash to make, profit that year, guess what? I was here 24 hours a day, and they're still going to fire me.
Right.
Which I think people learn, previous generations, people learn that later in life.
Well, but I also think that in the last maybe... I don't know if it's 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, but in the last several years... we hear a term that we didn't really hear before, and that was work-life balance.
Yes.
That term didn't exist before.
When we were growing up, it didn't.
Yeah, even when we first were in the workforce.
No.
In our 20s.
We were probably one of the first to start hearing it, but
work-life balance was not
like
something, and now it's not only something that you hear about, but it's something that companies promote.
Especially after COVID.
I actually think maybe that term started with like the tech companies, because like remember when Google,
Silicon Valley,
there's like a pool table, and
but then that's not work-life balance, because they're just giving you shit so you stay.
But
at the
I think
office.
that's like kind of where the concept started.
Right.
Like work you shouldn't have to be like in your cubicle, in your desk, grinding all 8 hours of the day. You should, if you want to get up to have a drink, if you want to go hang out, whatever. And obviously that is something very important, because, as you said, that happens all the time. You know, people work for a company years and years and years, and when they have to let you go, they let you go. Yeah. So it's kind of like a two-way street. It's like, am I going to be so devoted to
when I'm just a number?
Right, when I'm irreplaceable.
No, I'm replaceable.
I'm replaceable. I mean,
we are not Beyonce.
That's funny because I was thinking right now of the song, and I was. That's why I said irreplaceable.
I figured as much.
You know, as much as I like Beyonce, that's like, I don't care for that song.
Well, that song's too mainstream for you to care for.
Why would? That's actually why I don't like it.
You say this like I don't know you. You say this like I don't know your brain, sir. Like
32 years, people.
Exactly.
That's why.
I know that's exactly why.
The song.
If that had been a B-side, you'd love it.
Whatever.
But it's not a bad thing. It's just who you are.
All about the counterculture, yet I didn't go to...
You didn't go to Woodstock.
I didn't go to Woodstock because I'm Latin.
Because you had Cuban parents, that's why.
I mean, they didn't let me go to the Pearl Jam concert. You think they were going to let me go to Woodstock?
Listen, the Pearl Jam concert ended with a SWAT team. If you would have gone to the Woodstock 99, they would have died.
First of all, my parents already have a very, very low opinion about hippies.
Right.
You know, they come from the Reagan era, so
this is true.
But back to what you were saying. I just think that, you know, I think I read somewhere that like people now are putting it on Twitter, on not Twitter,
TikTok.
on TikTok.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm coasting by. It's like, okay, good for fucking you. So
also, the point of coasting is not to get noticed, kids.
Right.
The minute you put it on social media, now your boss can find you eating shit. Like, like, come on, guys. If you're gonna coast, do it right.
Coasting is not like the gym, right? That if you don't post it on social media, you didn't go.
It's the opposite. Right. You want to not post.
This you want to keep on the DL.
On the DL,
always,
absolutely,
always.
Absolutely.
But do you think that I think that people from like the greatest generation, the World War II era, are probably looking at these kids and being like, "Damn it, that's what we went for."
This is why we beat.
This is what we went to Normandy for.
Yeah, this is what we beat the Nazis for this.
For this. Actually, you know what? Speaking of that. So, well, not of that, but transitioning into something else. How, you know how I always say, well, we always say that Twitter, the internet, social media is just an evil, evil place
right.
where
the
good
and the bad
trolls just go to like just be awful, awful people.
Yeah, they've come out from under the bridges and
so I think it was on Twitter that I don't know if I follow. I don't even know how certain feeds pop up on my feed. Like how certain messages.
You've given up on the algorithm.
Yeah, because it's like, again, I use Twitter very limited.
Right.
Whatever. Anyway, so what happened was that this post came out, or tweet, excuse me, of some nostalgic appliance account. So this ad came out, this commercial.
Okay, hold on. So it's an account on Twitter that just shows like old appliances.
Yes, but this is a thing because
no, but I mean like those old like funny appliances and things
not
like
even
that.
Funny appliances. You know when you have an interest in something, or you're like, oh, you know, curious about something, but then you find it on YouTube and it has millions of views, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one, right? There are pages upon pages, channels, I'm sorry, on YouTube dedicated to 1940s and 1950s kitchen appliances.
Wow.
Yeah, like the ads. Because what happened is that during the 1950s and 40s and 50s, the post-war years, especially,
of course,
all these manufacturers like Whirlpool, Frigidaire, Maytag, that is when they started releasing products that are what we now know as a modern kitchen.
Right, for the home.
Right. An electric refrigerator was a built-in freezer. A dishwasher.
Right.
Those were all things that came to prominence in the 40s and 50s.
Electric mixers.
In the post-war era. So this is a learned part of the show. Yes. So that's why when you look at a lot of those ads in black and white, you're like, but why are they giving a whole tutorial on how to use a refrigerator? Right?
Because this was the second one off the line.
Right. This is sort of, you know what this is sort of similar to? That now infamous Windows 95 video that Matthew Perry and Jennifer Aniston did.
Yes.
Where they explain Windows
and the internet. Yeah.
It's sort of, that was pretty good.
That was
a pretty good
good
connection. To that. So they did a lot of these campaigns in the 40s and 50s. So going back to my original comment, so this tweet was like this little, this, I don't know, whatever the time limit is, 20, 30, 60 seconds of this lady showing what the new refrigerator could do. And it was from 1948, I think. Okay. And like, tenía una gaveta that you could open up to like put the vegetables, but you could take the gaveta out and put
things
it
we take for granted
the
now.
faucet. But no, that was like a really cool thing because la gaveta was on the door and you could remove it from the door, and then it had like draining, so you could like
wash your vegetables,
all that. And then the point was that somebody said, oh, this 1945 or 48 refrigerator has more features than a modern day refrigerator, right? Okay, that's what I was thinking too.
It's a joke.
Somebody comments, well, you could blame that on capitalism.
Pero how?
So yeah.
That's it, yeah. Ahí se desvoló todo.
Went down from there. And an argument and back and forth and, you know, people chiming in.
What
and
does
blah,
that
blah,
have
blah,
to
blah.
do? Wouldn't
like,
capitalism want more features so you can charge more?
Oh my god. Oh my god. This was a fucking tweet about a refrigerator from 1945. Un refrigerador. Un frigidaire. Como decía mi abuela. Refrigerador. Y pues echamos fa en la lavadora. I mean, oh my god. Like, I can't.
That's great.
I can't. I say it all the time. We've talked about it here a million times. Like, I can't. Oh, I have another one.
That's wonderful.
So, I actually, which was very depressing. No, this is actually very sad. There was a tweet I saw yesterday of this person who unfortunately is going through cancer.
Okay.
And they were like, oh, you know, the doctor gave me, and then I went to their actual page, and they've been posting their cancer journey for quite some time. But unfortunately, you know, he's sort of reached the point where there's not much they can do. And he was like,
it's like palliative care.
The doctors told me that I have 3 to 6 months left. They already gave me like my final amount of prescription. They gave me the information for hospice. Right. This is a lot to take in, you know, whatever. Terrible, just awful.
That's horrible.
And then, you know, people giving condolences and, oh, you know, be at peace, whatever. Yeah. Oh, you know, if our country, I think this person was in Texas, I think. Oh, you know, if Texas had legalized medical marijuana, blah, 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 you wouldn't be in so much pain. But that's what you get for blah, 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 the type of government that you have. So then somebody else chimes in. Oh, because, you know, blah, 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 you know, drug dispensaries, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, they started having, again, a fight, which ended up in politics. And I'm like, this poor man is like putting
has
this
3 months to live
of to him trying to process the fact that he's going to die in a few months, and you people don't have the compassion
You've made it about you.
Or the discretion, because it's a matter of discretion, to not make this tweet about you and your thoughts, right? And your point of view and your grievance, but rather just give this man encouraging words when literally you need it the most in what's left of your life, right? As you said, they made it about themselves.
But that's social media.
And it's like, wow.
That's social media.
Wow. I know we say this a lot on here, that we talk about, what do you call it, the cesspool of Twitter?
Yeah.
But it really is like the worst of humanity. The worst of humanity. It really is.
It is. And I wonder, again, like you said, we've said this a gajillion times, you know, I wonder if these people do it.
Do they know?
Do they care? Are they doing it just because they themselves, it's attention-seeking behavior, clearly. You know, is it because they believe this, or because they know that that's gonna you know, set someone else off, and that's what gets them their jollies? Like, what drives this, you know, this need? Because at this point, it's a need to just be a dick.
Very well put. Very well put. Yeah, the need to be a dick.
The need to be a dick, because when somebody's dying of cancer, you know what? I don't give a flying fuck what your politics are.
Yeah,
it's not about you.
But that shouldn't even.
It's not about you.
That even shouldn't be on the hemisphere. Like, you know, this person did a heartfelt, like, sort of, I'm literally at the end of my rope, and this is where you go, and
this is what you thought would be helpful.
Whatever. So, yeah, horrible people.
People suck.
So, ¿qué más me tiene?
Well, I was going to say, people suck, but you know what doesn't suck?
What?
Las sodas.
Oh, Well, yes, of course. Those you drink.
Those you drink. So yes, there's that reason why it doesn't suck. So do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
No, you go first.
All right. So I'm gonna give kind of a gasless soda, and this is gonna be a weird gasless soda, but I'm giving the gasless soda to the dessert Pavlova.
Okay, let's talk about this.
All right. Have you had a Pavlova?
I love Pavlova.
Okay. Pavlova have become, for me, the paellas of dessert.
Okay, you need to explain that.
Okay. Listeners, and for those of you who are new, I will say, you know how, like, I don't have an issue...
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, but I don't have an issue with paella as a dish, but what drives me insane is we were like, ay, no, llegues tarde, va a una paella, ay, la paella, la paella, la paella. It's like, I've had rice before. Okay, I've had rice and chicken in a big-ass caldero, okay?
Pero tiene marisco.
Well, I don't eat marisco, so there's that. Okay. I like Pavlova. It's a tasty little dessert. It's basically like, and I'm going to generalize the description, but essentially it's like a very thin, like merenguito almost, and then, you know, you have like a dulce de leche, and then a little cream on top, and then a fruit. I mean, I think that's a pretty... Yeah. That's a pretty general
it's an
description.
Italian meringue.
Okay. It's yummy. Está rico. Whatever. Ay, pero últimamente todo el mundo está... Because they're like, you know, oh my God, they're bringing a Pavlova. Oh my God, look at the Pavlova. Have you tried the Pavlova? Ay, the Pavlova. It's like, you know what? Yes, I've had merengue, I've had dulce de leche, and I've had fruit.
¿Tú sabes lo que pasa con el Pavlova? Oh. Lo mismo que pasa with a thin crust pizza. You see the Pavlova, and it's big. Right. When they start cutting that shit,
right, it starts to like ecacharse.
Yeah,
it becomes un empate. Right.
That's sort of like when I see people ordering thin crust pizza for like large amounts of people, I'm like, oh yeah, one large thin crust pizza
not going to go as far as you think.
Equivalent to a large pizza. Not. It's like you need 3 like of thin crust pizza to be equivalent to one a regular pizza.
Yes.
So I see people getting like a Pavlova happy birthday.
Well, that's the thing. I went to
a cake.
I went to a birthday party last weekend, and they had 2 Pavlovas. They had one that had strawberry on top and one that had mango on top. And again, they were delicious. But it's like, you know what? Just get me a cake. Just get me a cake.
I wouldn't have that as like... I like Pavlova, but I wouldn't necessarily have that like that.
Yeah, so that's why I'm giving my gasless soda to Pavlova, just because
I think that's really random.
It's become my... paella for dessert.
Okay. So, I'm actually going to give my last soda. I looked it up here to make sure I got it right.
Okay.
To the remake of the Addams Family.
Oh, the Wednesday series on Netflix?
Yes. Specifically, well, yes, I should have said it by the proper name. The casting of Catherine Zeta-Jones
is brilliant.
It's so like, duh, but then it's like I would have never thought about it at the same time.
Right. I wouldn't have put it together.
Right. Well,
but of course,
Catherine Zeta-Jones. Like when I saw her in the picture, I'm like, "Hello,
yeah, like
Morticia."
She just had to get to a certain age to play it.
Yeah. How old is Morticia?
I want to say
is the original Morticia still alive?
No. She's passed away. I think that John Astin, I think, is still alive.
Do you know what of the original Addams Family? I don't even know what episode it is. What like is a scene that I remember the most watching as a child? Is there was some random scene where she would be cutting the roses.
That's how she would always...
was that in more than one episode?
Yeah.
Okay, that she would cut the flower off.
That's how she would hacer el arreglo.
Yes. And then, you know what I would always remember? Like, the end when they would put the credits, like, maybe I was watching it with my grandma, she'd be like, ellos se están moviendo.
Oh, yeah, because it was not a still photograph.
Yes, they were just standing there. And then, I forget which one.
Somebody would start, like, moving.
Yes, my grandma would be like, ellos se están moviendo. But yes, when I saw her as Morticia, I was like, this is like been in plain sight, like all the time.
Absolutely.
Like, I can't imagine now any like modern day actress, anybody else playing
that. Yeah,
but Morticia. But I haven't seen it, but
no, it hasn't premiered yet.
But I saw like the trailer and all that, and it looks fun. I think that Wednesday Addams movie or the Christina Ricci.
Yes, that's Addams Family.
Yeah. But Christina Ricci was like.
She was Wednesday. She was Wednesday.
Right. Yeah. That's what that movie...
Yeah.
She stole that movie.
She stole the movie so much that really the second part is pretty much about her.
Yeah, because I think it was one of these things that like they didn't expect that she was going to be like... I don't want to say the breakout star because she was a huge character, but like really, I like it because of her scenes.
Yeah. Angelica Houston's another one that was just a great choice for Morticia.
Yeah. I've always found Morticia really pretty.
Well, claro. I mean, she has to fit into that little dress.
The only person I did not like as Morticia was Angelina Jolie.
Wait, when was she?
Wait, she went to the Oscars?
Oh, well, yes, okay.
Because when she went to the Oscars...
Listen, we have established that she was not Morticia at the Oscars.
Okay, but wait. When she was in the Oscars, like, I've actually thought about this. So, for your listeners who don't know, and I think it was either 2000... It was the year she won, no? Yeah, it was the year she won for Girl... I was Girl Gone Wild. for Girl Interrupted. She won the Academy Award. That's also the year she sort of made out with her brother.
Yes.
And when you look at her, that year, for those listeners who don't know what we're talking about, I think it was the 1999 or either 1999 or 2000 Oscars. Angelina Jolie, when she won the Oscar for Girl Interrupted, was it Best Actress or
Supporting? Because Winona was the...
Nobody can say that whoever styled her did not style her as Morticia Addams.
For sure.
Because that wasn't a coincidence.
Unless her stylist was Latina. And then she styled her after Brenda from Marimar.
And if you know that reference...
then you're clearly a listener of ours.
Yeah. No, that would have been for Premio Lo Nuestro.
Verdad. Sorry, I mixed up the awards.
If she would have been to Premio Lo Nuestro, then it would have been like, they styled you after Brenda from Marimar. So we're talking about in Marimar. So for those of you listeners, I feel if you listen to us, you have to know what Marimar is.
Yeah.
So Marimar was one of Talia's most famous soap operas in the mid-90s. And there was a character on that soap opera called Brenda. And she was like, what would you say she was at it?
Wasn't she like,
by Encantado? Was she like the
manager, the owner?
She was like the hostess.
See, she was the front end.
Right.
Yeah.
But in every single scene of every single episode she was in, and remember, soap operas have like, hundreds of episodes. Right. She was always dressed like Morticia Addams. Yeah. Like, we're not kidding, people. She was dressed in a long black dress with long, black hair. And I'm like, okay, this soap opera is not like a parody.
Right.
This is not supposed to be funny.
This doesn't have a sense of humor.
Right. This is how they're dressing her. They're dressing her like Morticia Addams.
In every scene.
It's like, do they know? Like...
Sometimes I wonder.
Because maybe if the stylist is kind of like, ha, I'm going to fuck with these people. Right. But I don't think so.
I don't think that was it. I think that was the decision that was made.
Yeah. So if you're from, Latin households, Angelina Jolie was dressed as her. But yeah, Morticia Addams.
Yes.
So she's hot and sexy she's not dead, right?
Who?
Morticia's not dead.
No, the Addams are not dead. No. They're alive. I will say what I like about this this new Wednesday is that they're leaning a little bit more into the thing that, they are, for all intents and purposes, at least half Latin. Uh-huh. Because Gomez, the guy's name is Gomez, is being played by Luis Guzman.
Right.
Wednesday is being played by Jenna Ortega. So I can appreciate that it's not an overt thing, but it's like a wink if you know, you know.
And Morticia's being played by a Welsh woman.
Well, her name is Catherine Zeta-Jones. Maybe there's some
Spanish
in there.
I feel like Catherine Zeta-Jones deserves more spotlight than what she gets. I think she kind of wants it that way.
Yeah, she's okay.
She's a Welsh national treasure.
Yeah.
She is. Because she's great.
She is.
She's great.
She has like a home decor line.
Really?
You know what it's called?
What?
Casa Zeta-Jones.
Casa Zeta-Jones?
Yes. I can't make that shit up.
You know what I was... a few months ago on The View, Eva Mendes.
Yes.
You know, Eva Mendes has sort of like...
she become a tremendous entrepreneur.
I don't want to say she retired, but she really hasn't done anything.
She stepped back.
In a while, and she has her home line and all that. I want to get the name right.
I totally want to get her sponge.
That's what I was going to talk to you about. It's like, we hadn't seen Eva Mendes in years.
Right.
And Eva Mendes all of a sudden comes on The View para hablar de una esponja.
But it's a revolutionary sponge.
Okay, pero una esponja. Es una esponja.
Okay, but have you seen what it does?
it doesn't it like tell you when it has too much bacteria?
Yes, that's brilliant.
When I saw her on there,
listen, I expect nothing less from a Cuban American woman.
When I saw her on there a few months ago on The View, and listeners, if you didn't see it, look it up. Put Eva Mendes sponge view, The View. When I saw her on there, I'm like, wait a minute. Does this woman come out of retirement to come on The View, of all places, The View,
right?
To talk about una esponja, to talk about a sponge, like. And that is what she was there to talk about. Like, she wasn't promoting anything else.
No, but that's her latest project. Yeah.
Una esponja.
Yeah, she has a home line. Yeah, the otra.
And Vanna White has yarn.
And yes, exactly. With that said, I would love to have Eva Mendes on the show. And maybe she'll give us sponges.
Oh, yeah. No, she's great. I wonder how many other celebrities have products that we don't know about.
That is a great thing. And how many of them are made products that are only sold overseas?
Yes. Like we're never mind.
Like maybe The Rock has a line of kitty litter that's only available in New Zealand.
Oh my god. Do you smell
yes!
what your cat is pooping?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Dwayne Johnson. Are you tired of smelling when your cat is pooping? I am. We've come up with a solution. With my new kitty litter line, Rocky Bits. With Rocky Bits, your cat can use the bathroom and your house will smell April fresh.
Yes.
All day long. And who else would you trust more than the people's
eyebrow?
Yes. And then he's holding the bag and he does the eyebrow thing.
Exactly.
Right. I think we just came up with something.
We just did. Danny, if you hear this, feel free to use it.
We need to contact Dwayne Johnson.
His wife, his ex-wife, Danny.
Enterprises.
Danny, who is Cuban American.
There we go, full circle.
Yep.
So anyway, don't let your kids go to Woodstock, people. That's what we learned.
We sound like parents from the 50s. Don't let your kids go to Woodstock.
Don't let your kids go to Woodstock. Ahí nada más pasan cosas. Ahí van a pasar cosas no buenas. Desagradable.
Yes.
Que te lo dije.
Exactly. If you're going to quiet quit, don't post it.
Don't post it.
And if you need a sponge, buy Eva Mendes's.
Well, that's true. See, if you're going to buy una esponja,
support small businesses.
Yeah, and Cuban American, Latin person. So anyway, bueno, everybody, we hope you listened. That was interesting. We hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, remember to grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito. Oh, and for those of you who are local, we will be Saturday at
Unseen Creatures from 6 to close.
With Ping Pam Pollo.
Yep, Ping Pam Pollo. We're going to post about it. They're going to have music. It's going to be a great old time.
So have a great weekend, everybody.
All right, cuídense.
Bye.
Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.